Hello everybody, hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor here. We are back with daily Leeds news, and listen, we're here to talk about Leeds United. The streams are flying out at this moment in time. The Patreon is popping off, and the reason I say that, everybody, is we have a video out at this moment in time over on there, which I think a lot of you guys will you'll appreciate. So yeah, make sure you go over there, check that out. A few bits and bobs over there on the Patreon. We're doing early releases as well, which we're going to start implementing. As you can probably see on screen here, 10 Leeds players, 10 players Leeds United should target. So I've done a little bit of my list, and there's some that's coming out on the Patreon as well, something that you guys have all been asking for: keep or sell. Obviously it'll be released on the channel, but if you want early access, head on over to the Patreon. All the proceeds go into the channel, into helping me pay for all these bits and bats. So thank you so much for your support. Thanks for the views on the debrief. Once again, everybody, I am not on Twitter anymore. I keep getting notifications. Connor, where have you gone? One Leeds FC on Instagram for all of your updates, for all of your video updates, for all daily news and stuff like that. I'm doing stories on Instagram now. Going to try to do a little bit more of that. So make sure you head on over there if you want some content. Okay, let's get into your comments. There's 500 of you in the building. Thank you so much for this impromptu stream. Yeah, we're going to speak everything Leeds United, speak everything Radrizzani and all the other circus antics that's going on at Leeds United at this moment in time. Let's get into a couple of your comments. Stephen Hughes says, good morning, Connor. I really do hope we bounce straight back, hopefully with our young talent. Blooded. Morning from Western Australia. How you, Mick? Morning, Connor, from a grey and cloudy Meanwood. Russ says, morning, Connor, mate. How you, mate? Lee saying, good morning, Connor, as well. Morning, Connor. I hope everything is well. Watching from Ireland. Hello, Kian. Hope you're good, man. Hey up, Connor, from Tokyo. On my way home from working on shit. Bloody hell, Andy. Good luck, mate. Good luck. Morning, Connor. Hiya, Lucy. Hope everything's... sorry, hiya, Hannah. Hope everything's well. Sorry, I just caught a Lucy a bit further down there. Hello, Lucy, as well. Morning, Connor, from a very sunny west of Ireland. Not looking forward to the 49ers at all, says Sam H. Morning, sir. Hiya, Rye. Morning, mate. From Newcastle, says Matthew Carrick. Morning from Gold Coast. So yeah, guys, yeah, I hope everything's going well. As I say, just make sure you like the video. That'd be really appreciated. Just make sure it just shows higher on the algorithm, the old algorithm. Okay, so big news today. Agreement is in place, signed, sealed and delivered. Andrea Radrizzani absent from Leeds United's fixture at the weekend as we got relegated to the Championship. Has bought Sampdoria. They reckon he has bought Sampdoria for an undisclosed fee with QSI holding partners in sort of a relation with Acer Capital as well. So there you go. Looks like that is signed, sealed and delivered. A report last night from Calcio Mercato, Damasio and Phil Hay consequently said that apparently this needed to fall before the 49ers could move in with their £170 million offer. A proposal is set to be put together from the 49ers. I read the other day that it was going to be a 2-week proposal, which I've no idea why that's happening. You've been here 5 years, lads. You're supposed to be a proper business/franchise. Get your cards in order. Let's hope that's just paper talk. This needs to happen ASAP. We've been waffling on about this for ages, but that deck needs to fall. Those dominoes need to start falling for Leeds United to really start moving forward with a fresh impetus, fresh start. So, yeah, Rads has released a statement, which... oh, it's unbelievable. He says, now we can say it. It was a real battle, but we can finally say we made it. We are nothing short of enthusiastic to be able to announce that we have completed the acquisition of this extraordinary club. The history of and the Sampdoria coat of arms are safe, and I think my happiness is that all of the people who were suffering for these colours. Isn't that just irony in a sentence? Unbelievable. We have been suffering as well, Andrea. Thank you for your leadership, which has put us in this predicament. And you were absent at the weekend, jet setting across trying to buy another club. So thank God, thank the Lord that the Sampdoria coat of arms are safe. That's good. I'm happy for Sampdoria. What about the club that you've owned for 5 to 6 years? My thanks right now go to, above all, to the people who've worked tirelessly to ensure that this agreement found a conclusion. And in particular, I have to thank Matteo Manfredi and the lawyer Di Gennaro. Without them, none of this would have been possible. From today, we move on. And I personally can't wait to get to work. So that's good. for Rads. He's moved on. He's got his new toy. He's got a new group of fans who are probably going to adore him because he's bought them out of the dregs which they were in. You know, where they were facing points deduction, massive bills, weren't able to pay player wages. He's somehow been able to get QSI on board, which he was never able to do even pre the 49ers at Leeds United, which I find very, very confusing. With the investment arm of QSI, they've been able to write off all the debts. I don't know if they're going to just absolutely maul Serie B now, but it would have been nice to have that conversation at Leeds. I remember it right at the beginning when they were seemingly talking to Nasser Khalifi, about being a bit of an investment arm in Leeds United. The rumours were speculating for months and months, actually a year at one point, and it never happened. And it seems like he's got the investment arm. Whether or not it's the full investment arm of QSI, who knows? But he's been able to do that pretty instantaneously with Sampdoria. So there you go. It looks like they're going to be flying up the league when it comes to Serie B. I don't think that standard of competition is very good anyway when you compare that to the Championship and the money in the Championship drip-fed from the Premier League. So they're probably going to go there and absolutely maul that league. Not that I care, but it's just interesting, the statement when he's talking about staff, when he's talking about people behind the scenes to get this deal done. No mention of Leeds United. Still nothing when it comes to Leeds United on Rad's personal account, anywhere. His Acer account, obviously they're still wrapped up with Ellen Road, the stadium, and obviously Leeds United. It would have been nice to hear something from Radrizzani. And Brownie was saying last night on the debrief, he said, yeah, but Connor, what would he have said? What would he have said? And Brownie's quite right. Like, what would he have said? He'd have still got pelters. But he's a professional. He's the owner of the football club. You come out, even if you're getting pelters, I might think whatever you say in that statement is completely hollow and truthless, which I would believe that anyway. But as a professional, at any level, you come out and do that. You come out and do that, you know? And he's not done it. So, yeah. We'll have to wait and see what happens. The 49ers couldn't do anything. 49ers had a 47% stake. Don't tell me they didn't have a decent influence on what happens. I think it was 44, really, Sam. But yeah. It's all on Rads. He had the overall final say on everything. Rads is a snake. Moved on swiftly, didn't he? Yeah, and I just think to myself, I just would have absolutely loved a statement from my club owner about my club, and just for him to tell me maybe that everything is moving swiftly with the 49ers still. And I understand why, because the minority shareholders, but even in the 5 years that they've been at Leeds United, as in the 49ers, I've heard nothing. I heard something from Parag Marath at a convention, a conference, I think, that he did in the States. And that's it. And I know it's not the job of a football owner to talk. I mean, our football owner does talk until it's got to this point. But you would expect something from prospective owners who are going to take full control of the football club at some point. Because they've clearly got the green light from Radrizzani. They've clearly been heavily involved in signings. Jorginho Rutter been the heavy one, which they gave the green light on and pushed. You know, so you just expect something a little bit more. Hopefully we're going to hear clarity. Hopefully this is where the dominoes start to fall. I'm just massively disappointed in Radrizzani. I think the ownership structure has just been nothing short. I mean, we were going through it last night in the debrief. Check it out if you've not seen it, everyone. But we're just going through the breakdown of everything that's happened in the last 3 years. It's staggering. Some of the decisions they've made. So I think we as fans, paying customers, deserve something from him in terms of a statement. We got it wrong. We got it wrong. I got it wrong. I'm at Sampdoria now. I'll learn from my mistakes. It's not good enough, but now you're in the hands of a franchise who's going to take you to the next level, and Leeds fans should be fully confident in this group of people because they care about the club. You know, all that spiel that'll relay to us, but I want to hear something from him. Yeah, we're going to get onto this, Andrew. It's been interesting. 49ers have always been a quiet organisation, which actually, Wuxia, is a good thing. Is a good thing when it comes to being a quiet ownership group. Of course it is. Like, you look at all the successful clubs, Brighton, when it comes to ownership and recruitment, Brighton, Brentford, Fulham at the minute, clubs like that, you don't hear anything from the owners. The first time you heard anything from Brighton the other day was Tony Bloom going on Sky Sports and talking about how they've already got plans in place to sign players. But when it's been as confusing as it has, when it's a dual ownership, when we need something going forward, even it doesn't have to be him talk. It doesn't have to be the 49ers talking about the ownership. It's just the way forward. Them talking to us about the plan. Them talking to us about what they believe when it comes to Leeds United. We've heard nothing. They don't even have to tell us that they're going to sign players, that they're going to employ this manager, that they're going to employ this sporting director. Just give us a notion that you're going to be here in the future. Talk to us. Talk to us about the future plans of Leeds United, where you want to be, whatever the outcome this season, where do you want to be? Because it seems like they all want, they want to come in, they want to buy Leeds United. Why do you want to buy Leeds United? What's the plan going forward? So I think that is a big thing, especially when let's be honest, they've had a massive say, and a lot of people who think they've not had a massive say. Listen, Rads has the final say, but we know when it comes to football ownership, Rads isn't a wealthy owner. The 49ers are a huge franchise with multiple investment arms. So let's be honest, they will have been calling a lot of the shots, especially knowing that they're going to take over at the end of the season, which we've known for a while now. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Con, will we keep our sponsorship of Adidas in the EFL? Love the content, bro. I don't know, Zach, to be honest, mate. It's a really good question. What's slightly annoying is the fact that I don't think Adidas have got the kits right yet. I don't know what you guys think about that. Actually, it's a lot of the I really like Puma's kits. Really massive fan of Puma's kits. And obviously Puma aren't Adidas and Nike, but I feel Adidas and Nike sometimes are just very much like, yeah, we're the biggest fish in the pond here. We're just going to relay this kit and copy this club over here. Whereas I think Puma are quite unique with all the kit designs. That'd be a bit of a dream of mine, to be honest, to have Puma with us. I think that'd be a really good acquisition when it comes to kits. Phil for Clicky, I bet he'd love to come back. Connor, we have to get Neil Warnock. It's a must. I don't know if you're a Leeds fan, mate, but there we go. I have a safe standing seat at Ellen Road. Is that allowed in the champ, or will that be another expense to remove? It should be fine, Luke, from what I understand anyway. Andy D said, I'd take 3 years in the championship playing attractive football and building, then going straight back up playing boring football. Yeah, probably not. Not wrong there. J Mac says we'll keep our Adidas sponsor Insider Knowledge, especially with it's American as well. Yeah, I mean, I think we've got is it 3 to 4 year deal? I've seen Phil Hayes tweet saying Cody Dram would like to stay at Leeds despite Luton going up. Any news on this, Connor? Not really, Simon. As we all know, there was lots of tweets out the other day. Apparently, that Cody Dramé wants to consider his options. If you're asking my opinion, he doesn't stay at Leeds. I know in particular that he was very, very upset, apparently, about being loaned out to Luton, and he was assessing his options when he was at Luton. So, yeah. I mean, if I'm Cody Dramé, I'm wanting to play in the Premier League, because Leeds haven't given me that for the past 2 years, because they keep saying I'm not good enough, and Luke Ayling and Rasmus Christensen are better players, which... yeah, is debatable, definitely. Okay, so next bit of news. Andoni Ireola has announced announced his departure from La Liga outfit Rayo Vallecano as relegated Leeds United look for a new head coach to replace Sam Allardyce. So yeah, Ireola is free. I don't really see this one happening, but maybe obviously when he was at Vallecano are a very, very small club in Spain. He's done exceptionally well with them. Rose from the ashes, really. Obviously, when you look at his CV with Vallecano, would he want to come in and do something similar with Leeds, with the golden nugget, the egg? Would Leeds United, when you look at the 49ers, who are going to want to make a statement with their first signing, hopefully, are they just going to go to Ireola and just go, bang, here's the money, come and get us up, and this, play a bit of possession football. Here's a little bit of a war chest of money for you to go out with, and let's move with this. Let's move. We back you fully. You play possession football. You've done extremely well in La Liga. You've got a good CV. And okay, let's move. Let's go for this. I'd be really happy with that. I really would be happy with that. It'd be a good acquisition. But if you're Ireola, when Brighton hired De Zerbi, he was out of work. Is this going to be a case where maybe Ireola looks... He evidently wants the Premier League as his next step. Is he going to just take the De Zerbi route, which is just wait for a little bit? Obviously, De Zerbi's circumstances were very different, and then make a move when a Premier League club comes in. Because obviously the Championship isn't the peak, and when you've done as well as he has with Vallecano, he's probably going to be looking at the next step, to be honest with you. So I don't think... Craig just said Spurs probably go with him now. Yeah, and I agree. Spurs don't really know what's going on. I don't think you've had, apparently Rodgers has been offered the job. You'll probably get Potter offered it next week, and yeah, I think it's all up in the air, to be honest. Luke says, does Dan James feature next season? I hope not. But Oran says, prefer Knutson over Ireola. Personally, I think he offers more as a manager. Yeah, I guess the only thing you'd say Oran is Ireola's done it in a much more competitive league, and he's got a lot of pedigree behind him, and he's a Bielsa disciple. If we're going to transition back to possession-based football, if you want Leeds to be a fit side again, which they're not, they're unfit. A lot of them look out of shape. If I'm being honest with you, I look at this team, and I've said this behind closed doors to my old man and a couple of mates, I think a lot of them look overweight, and I think you can tell. So, especially to what they were. So I think if he's going to get them fit, play possession-based football, take the notions of Marcelo Bielsa, which should have been implemented prior Jesse Marsh coming in anyway, as in that transition, should have been an Ireola, should have been a Gallardo, should have been someone who plays that style of football and understands those Bielsa methods, but has his own take on it. That's what should have happened if the owners of the club were efficient and understood the football game, but they didn't. So yeah, that should have been the transition. It wasn't the transition. We are where we are. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. There's no point in living in the past. But to transition back to that style of football is a must, because this group of players can't pass the ball. They are terrible on the ball. They're terrible in possession. They're awful out of possession as well. But when you get the ball and your first port of call is to hoof it, is to boot it, then you're fighting a losing battle. If we continue that style of football, and we won't, I'm convinced we won't, but if we continue that style of football that we've seen for the past 12 months at Leeds United, I'd be worried about us getting relegated to League One. I really would. I think it's that bad. I think it's hideous football, and I think it's easy to compete against. So, yeah, let's go back. Let's go back to possession-based football where you're dominating and manipulating space for me, and that's the success. So, yeah, Ireola is available. So yeah, there's a lot of managers on the circuit at the minute. There's favourites and there's a group of people who are probably the favourites right now. Big Sam is coming in. Obviously, Steven Gerrard would be a horrific appointment, an awful appointment. Big Sam will be an awful appointment as well. Corberan, we know West Brom is struggling financially at the minute. I've just spoke about possession-based football. I've spoke about, the Bielsa style. What I liked about what Corberan did at Huddersfield in particular is he made them absolutely solid at the back, made them really, really good defensively, which I was really impressed with. His first season was tough, but the second season he was exceptional. Huddersfield were an absolute nightmare. Corberan came in, played good football, but he had his own spin on it, and they were a very, very fit side, got the best out of players like Karoma, and they had another winger as well, can't remember his name, but he got about 14 assists, but he did really well. Brendan Rodgers, if the 49ers come in and want to throw some cash at him, that'd be interesting. It would be interesting, because I think Brendan Rodgers got a lot of love for Leeds. I really do. I think he speaks very highly of the club, and he clearly respects Leeds. But it'd be interesting to see if Brendan Rodgers would come down again. He was in the Championship about 15 years ago with Swansea, and obviously Graham Potter. There's the link there with him applying a lot of his coaching at York City and Leeds Metropolitan. So yeah, a bit of a link there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But the person who is going to be staying at Leeds United, apparently, according to several sources, and you've seen the title of the video, is Angus Kinnear. And it makes complete sense. He has been left to deal with the transition. He's probably going to be the one right now speaking to Cody Drame. He's going to be the one right now who is speaking to Sam Allardyce about his future, probably with the 49ers in his ear. And it just shows you that the transition that the 49ers are going to make to soccer is something that they've not done before, and they need a CEO who has been at West Ham, Arsenal, Leeds United, who knows the Premier League, who knows the English game, to smoothen that transition. And I'd like to have seen Kinnear's name on the club statement, because he's not smoothed the transition for me whatsoever. He's made me very angry with that. And it was evidently him or Chat GTP writing it, or him typing in on Chat GTP or telling someone to do that. I think I saw the other day it was a 73% match to Chat GTP, which is interesting. But overall, he's gonna aid that transition a little bit, I think. And I guess it's whether or not you think that is a good thing, that he's going to be working in better circumstances with a franchise who don't gob off as much as the franchise not even a franchise, Radrizzani and Orta, and they're in the background a little bit more, but doing things in a shrewd way, in a good way. It's whether or not you think that way, or you think that he's going to have a little bit too much control. The 49ers don't understand football because they've been a part of Leeds United for a number of years now and have made some dodgy decisions and have overseen some very dodgy decisions as well. Had a real power struggle in the club and maybe don't really know properly the English game. Yeah, so it's that two sides of it really. But I understand, as Craig said there, it could be a smart move, but I think a lot of Leeds fans, including myself, want a new sporting director, a new chief executive of the football club, and ultimately want new owners. A new manager, new players. 5 things. Because we all want a clear out. We want a rebuild, regeneration, renovation, re-emergence of Leeds United, a new era. And I don't like the thought of him being there. I don't like the thought of him being there because I don't think even as chief executive, he's delivered on his promises. I think he's been negligent as well. And I don't think he's communicated well with the fans. And I also think when Bielsa was leaving, when he was going on certain podcasts and convincing people like me, because I believed in the ownership structure and a lot of you did as well, that they wanted players, but Marcelo wouldn't take them. Remember all that? They threw Bielsa under the bus when Bielsa didn't say a word. And I believed that, and a lot of Leeds fans did. You know, it's like, come on, Marcelo, accept that player. Come on, accept that player. We need that player. Were they ever offering him the players? And they just blamed him because they knew he'd never come out and say anything. That never stuck well. That after the fact, that never stuck well with me whatsoever. And the absolute circus that they all put together when they got rid of Bielsa and none of them said anything about him apart from Radrizzani on an absolute tin pot interview was nothing short of embarrassing. So I'd want him out. You know, as I'd want Orta out, as I'd want Rads out, as I'd want Allardyce out. It was not really to blame. But, you know, I don't like it, I'll be honest. And I'd actually prefer them to go out. And even if they have a body, if they have someone within their environment who is a soccer man who can come in and aid the process, that is what I'd prefer, to be honest. I'm not a fan of Kinnear at all. And that's my opinion. I don't know if he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy. But, you know, when Victor Orta's shushing the fans and he's grabbing hold of Victor Orta with a big grin on his face, a big smirk on his face, don't like it, mate. Not a fan whatsoever. And the fact that he's going to be sticking round, it's almost like he's got another life, you know, cat with 9 lives. It's like, no, mate, you deserve to be gone as well. You are the chief executive officer, the chief operating guy. You deserve to be gone because you're part of this. You're part of the 3 stooges that we've all been calling out for a while. You don't deserve to keep your job, your 200 grand a year job and the rest, you know? So, yeah, I understand why they've done it. The transition, seamless. They want it to be out, but they've got to read the room. They've got to understand what the fans think. You guys actually might not think this. I've spoken to a few lads about this and they're sort of on the same wavelength as me, hence why I'm saying it. But they've got to understand the fans. They've got to read the room. And I don't think the first action of keeping Angus Kinnear in the club is a good move for understanding what has gone on with this club in the past 3 to 4 years, which he's been part of. I think a fresh notion is needed. So anyway, interim appointment okay, but ultimately a total clear out is required. Yeah, I want to hear what you guys think. We do need all the clowns gone. I want him out, but 49ers want him to stay, so we have no say. Hopefully, like a few of you said, it's just transitional. I just don't see that. Andrew says, wow, all you guys smash a like, help Connor to keep this podcast going. Yeah, guys, there's over 1,100 of you in the building. As I've said, I've done 10 championship players that Leeds should sign on the Patreon, and we're doing keep or sell very, very soon. Early release is always on the Patreon, so stick around for that. Make sure you're liking the video, and please make sure you're subscribed as well. My teenage son, LFC supporter, just informed me that he's bought a new big screen TV so I can watch the EPL next season, but said there's a problem, there's no Leeds. We need a complete clear out top to bottom. Yeah. Kinnear knows how things work, so it makes sense to keep him. I know Leeds want to, but you can apply that to so many people at Leeds, and the whole thing right now is that this is a new era, new ownership, new blood. You know, you don't really get ownership. You know, remember the Liverpool owners come in, you know, they literally turfed out everybody, you know, and they brought in a new impetus and a new feel at Liverpool. They wanted to put their stamp on things, and it worked. It really worked. First 2 years were a little bit slow, but then obviously they brought in Klopp. It all changed. Edwards came in as recruitment director. All changed. I just think there needs to be. It's the feeling of Angus Kinnear as well. The fans don't like it, and rightly so. You know, let's not forget this. Let's not forget this. And a lot of people say, "Oh, that was conducted by Radrizzani." It's the short memories are mad in football. You know, for people who maybe 2 weeks ago were saying this, but now the 49ers want to keep him, they're turning around and going, "Oh, well, it's fine. Kinnear's great." No, not Kinnear's great, but he'll do a good job. I'm not saying he's bad at his job. I think it's the fan feeling that you've got to separate from that, to be honest with you. And Andy says Kinnear is fine, can't bin everyone, needs some continuity for at least a season. I just, is he fine? Is he fine? I don't know. Maybe he is. But I just feel like I feel as a Leeds fan, I've been lied to. That's what I think, and I think he's got a big part to play in that, to be honest with you. Matty says, I think with a good sporting director and a good ownership in place, I don't think Kinnear will be that bad. It's a fair point. Let's hope that that is the way forward, and maybe that's what they see. As I keep saying, everybody, I'm not saying he's bad at his job. He's evidently very good, hence why he's been at West Ham, hence why he's been at Arsenal, and consequently come to Leeds. His CV is very, very good. It's the fan feel around the previous ownership that I'm not convinced with, and I don't like the fact that I feel I've been lied to a lot by him. And I think there's a big succession of events that Angus Kinnear has also been part of that I'm not a fan of. But yeah. Right, guys, we're gonna leave it there. As I say, 1,100 in the building. We're going to be back tomorrow with more of your stuff. As I say, if you want some bonus stuff, head on over to the Patreon. Leave a like before you go. It's free. And guys, I will see you in a bit. Cheers.